Elder Haynes and I. Elder Haynes was sick. He'd had a nasty cough, head cold. He wasn't feeling very good. And I said, Elder Haynes, listen, we've been in the apartment for 2 days now. Like, let's go out and at least try and contact this investigator that we were working with. And it was raining a little bit. And so Elder Haynes goes, okay. So we get in our bikes. And within about 2 minutes of leaving our apartment, it starts to rain. And it's raining so thick that it starts to obscure everything in rain because it's raining so much. And then the wind starts howling. And so we're riding our bikes, and it's just awful. It is complete torrential downpour. And we find this awning in this apartment complex, and we pull in, and we're trying to stay dry. And I look at Elder Haynes, and I'm laughing. I'm like, Elder Haynes, this is so great. Like, we come out, and we're just getting dumped on, and he was so mad at me. So Elder Haynes is ready just to throw in the towel, but elder priest, let's go home. I'm so sick of this. And I'm just laughing my head off at this inclement weather that we have to deal with. About 15 minutes we hung out under this awning, waited for the rain to stop, and I just remember laughing and just thinking, this is the one time we go out of the apartment with my sick companion, it comes down on us. It was, so that was, and then it subsided and we moved on. But the rain there, I mean, the only really bad weather that we had was the rain. There was no snow, no tornadoes or anything like that. It was just a lot of rain. It's hot. As far as I would find garments that are clothes that are very breathable. It's because it's hot down there. I had a pair of shoes that had a leather sole and some that had a rubber sole. And the rubber sole ones got really hot. And so I would find shoes that I think are light and breathable. My leather Echoes I used were great. And then I'd also have like a nice raincoat and like an overcoat raincoat that you can wear because it will rain on you in California. So because where we lived was so developed, there's very little wildlife. On one occasion, we were talking to a less active member on his front porch eating a mango. He'd Elliot, ¿quieres un mango? And so he'd give us big mangoes. And we'd sit on these like plastic chairs on this little cement patio he had in front of his house, and we'd eat mangoes. And he'd show us, he's like, this is how you do it. And so you bite the husk, you bite the husk off, and you kind of spit it to the side, and you have the meat of the mango, and we had mangoes like this, and it makes a mess. You're eating kind of like this to not get on your slacks and stuff, and it was delicious. It was awesome. And one day we're eating mangoes with this guy, and we have this large undeveloped just a dirt field across from us, and the only wildlife experience I had was this dog that was sprinting across this field, and there's a coyote in the field, and this coyote runs at the dog, and they like have like a little like fight. And so we're sitting there eating mangoes, talking to this active guy, watching these animals fight each other. And it was like, only on a mission would you have an experience, this little triangle going on right now. But that was the only experience with wildlife I had on my mission. I felt very blessed on my mission. I think there were a lot of compromised areas where we could have gone. There was only one time we were leaving this little town called Musquay. And it was very poor. I mean, no street lights, all dirt sidewalks. I mean, very poor area. There was only one time on my mission where I felt protected. We were returning home after an appointment we had, and we came to a four-way stop. And I looked left, and there were a group of people that were out in the front yard, and you can tell they'd been drinking. Really loud people. And the only time on my mission that I really felt, I overtly felt protected was the moment saying, Spencer, you elder priest, you shouldn't go straight, go one more block, you shouldn't go down that street. So we went straight. I don't know what happened with those people, but that was the only time I felt prompted to not go in a certain area. We had a police officer stop us and say, elders, we know what you're doing. We know that you are here sharing your message of the church, but you should not be here. He said, we have a lot of problems, a lot of gun violence problems here in the area. You really shouldn't be here. I remember turning to the officer and saying, officer, like, I appreciate you talking to us, but, if we have work here to do, we'll do it. And the officer said, well, listen, I've warned you, be safe. But aside from that, I feel like I had a very safe mission, even though there are a lot of areas like that would have been compromising for my safety. I felt very protected. I saw a lot of families that worked and a lot of families that didn't work. And so one powerful life lesson I learned is how important it is to invest in your family and make your family work. So one difficult experience I had, I was very close with my district, the elders that I entered the mission field with. I was very close. We're all very close. And I watched them all gain leadership in the mission much faster than I did. And I remember one day, everyone in my district had become a senior companion, had been a district leader or whatnot, way before I did. And I remember one day sitting at my apartment with my companion and feeling like a failure because everyone else that my peers I'd gone out with had all been given leadership in the mission before I had. And what was hard for me was to not feel like a failure, was to trust in Heavenly Father, that He knew where I was supposed to be in the mission, and then I wasn't failing because I didn't have a position. And that was a hard life lesson, and I came to terms with it, knowing that I have to trust in Heavenly Father, even though I'm not happy with my circumstance. So in the city of Rialto, where I served for those 12 months, we came in contact with a woman named Irma Perez. And Irma was about 76 years old, living in a single wide trailer by herself, and had like 13 kids that were all over the U.S. And we met her through a less active member that referred her to us. And Irma Perez changed my life and changed my mission. We sat down with her and we started talking about the church and gave her a Book of Mormon and invited her to come to church, and she readily accepted. And we watched this woman. Every day we'd come by her house, she would amaze us. She'd go, Alvarez, my friends and I usually go gambling on Friday nights. So she's like, so I went with them to the casino, but I sat in the corner and read my scriptures for 2 hours while they gambled. Then we went home. And I'm like, are you for real? Like, who are you? And she would just bear testimony. And then she loved the gospel principles manual that we gave her. She ate that up. And we'd come to her house and she'd be like, Alvarez, I have a question for you. And she'd talk about tithing. And she's like, so where does that money go? How is it used? And we'd share with her the humanitarian efforts that it went towards all these things that tithing is used for. And she was just amazed. And she's like, when can I pay tithing? And we'd walk away and just going, who is this woman? And finally we asked her to be baptized. And I said, Irma, I'm most likely getting transferred out of this area in 3 weeks. And I want to baptize you before I go. And she said, okay. When do you want to baptize me? And we baptized her, and I felt the greatest love for this woman that it's incredible. I felt in a small portion what the Savior must feel like, this degree of care and love and concern for someone else. That was profound, and it changed my mission. The faith that Irma exhibited in her conversion was beautiful to watch, and to this day I'm very humbled by that experience. Second experience I'd like to share. So 2 weeks before I went home, I was with Elder Rupp, and he actually, I should admit myself, he actually wasn't my companion. I forgot the circumstances which led to this, but it was Elder Rupp and I were on a brief exchange together where we were on we had about 45 minutes where our junior companions had something they had to be at, and so it was just him and I for about 45 minutes. And we said, well, let's go out and we're just going to go street contact for 45 minutes before we have to come back for another appointment or whatever the circumstance may have been. And Elder Rupp and I left the apartment. This is my last area in Ontario. And we just did one, and the block run was a kind of a grand, like a bigger block than usual. And so we just went one lap around the block. And I had been done a lot of contact in my mission, a lot of experiences talking to people. This is 2 weeks before I went home. And for some reason, that one day with Elder Rupp, when we contacted people, it's difficult to describe the experience that we had. But I remember I came back to the apartment, and I just felt so overwhelmed with these feelings I had. And I looked at the ceiling and I said, "You got me." Meaning kind of me sharing my testimony with the Father in heaven that I'm not going anywhere. I knew it was true, and I knew. I felt the testimony that I had, that I knew this was true, and this would always be part of my life, and how grateful I was to have the atonement actively working in my life, and to know that the church is true, and to know the Book of Mormon was true, and to know that there's a prophet today. All those feelings came with such potency. I remember I looked at the ceiling and I said, "You've got me. I'm not going anywhere." And how grateful I felt that day. And I mean, I had many experiences on my mission that were powerful, but to this day, I think that was a tender mercy from the Lord to give that to me right before I went home, letting me know that my mission had been successful, that I had come to my own sure and unshakable testimony that the church is true.